For someone who's so ambitious, yeah, so someone who wants to do so much for the world, I'm sure with ambition comes a lot of disappointments also. Disappointment sometimes, of not being able to deliver as much as you think you're capable of. So in situations like this, how do you stay happy? What is your fund of remaining happy when you're so ambitious?
Honestly, happiness isn't the goal. I've never believed that happiness is the goal. I think if I approach it with a sense of, am I happy? Then I'm always going to be disappointed, because happiness comes to you in spurts. Happiness comes to you in out of the blue. If somebody says something nice about you, happiness comes. Even if it's short lived. Even if you've won something massive, the happiness I always found is short lived, and the sadness is much more long. The disappointments is much longer. So for me, happiness has never been a goal. It's always been growth. Whether that growth is coming in terms of, I mean, really emotions in a nutshell. If you truly believe that, let's say there's emotions, there's jealousy, there's happiness, there's sadness, there's grief, there's so many different things that you can feel. Uh, you can feel lost sometimes. You know, emotions are just something that are meant. I feel like to be just watched, observed, and just like thoughts that come and go from your head. And the fact you don't control the thoughts that come and go from your head, I don't believe that you can control the emotions either. That's just how I've seen things. I was fortunate enough, honestly, to have coaches that were instilling this kind of conversations in me from a very young age. And it was just one of those things that I felt like wasn't the driving force to whatever it is that I was trying to do. Because otherwise you'd be stuck in disappointments for a long, long time, which also happens in today's day and age. It
Yeah.
happens more often than it used to. But I've always felt like just plugging on, moving ahead, and whatever it is that comes, it does come. Because at the end of the day, if you do have some reasonable perspective, it's easy to say and justify that things are not going the way they should be for you, and it's easy to say that things are amazing or things are not. But it all comes down to perspective. I'm successful in relation to Roger? No, I'm not successful in relation to who? So then, I feel like just opening the world up and comparing yourself to everybody else makes very little sense. And if you can look in the mirror and say, I've given it my best, why is that not success? And if you can continue to do that and say, I gave it my best and I lost, and all right, tomorrow's another day. And sometimes I didn't give it my best and I won. That doesn't mean that's success. There's still a lot to learn, there's still a lot to grow from. And whether you're playing tennis or football or golf or, whatever, running a business or at a regular job, I don't think that, happiness is a wise thing to chase. It's like chasing
Yeah.
rainbows.
Yeah, I agree. It's like chasing rainbows. Okay, talking about happiness and success, I think there's one athlete that we must talk about and has made news with her retirement is Sania Mirza. As an athlete yourself, as a tennis player yourself, what is what is it that you think is the most striking factor about Sania Mirza's journey in the world of tennis?
So, when you're talking about a personality like a Sania Mirza, a lot of things come to mind. First thing that comes to mind for me is determination. Determination. I've never seen somebody as driven as her. She knew, when and I say this with all due respect to myself and people that we grew up with and a lot of the athletes in India. But when all of us were doing it, we were having a great time. We were out playing, competing together. But the drive, the determination that she had, that she is going to make it on the tour. She is going to play at the biggest events. She is going to be one of the best in the world. For me, that drive was something that was very, very, very apparent in her more than anybody else in our age group from a very young age.
Yeah.
And all of us had a good time, Sania included. But she was always the one that never, ever, ever took her eye off the ball in terms of, and I felt like she was the only one that had a vision of what she wanted to be herself very, very early on. Um, and apart from the dedication, obviously, the biggest quality that she has, the most impressive quality that Sania has, in my eyes at least, is that she's one of the gutsiest people that I've ever met. And I know, and obviously it comes off on a tennis court because with her back against the wall, she's happy to believe that she's going to make that shot. She wants to go for it. So, but it goes much more than that. She's very gutsy. She believes that she belongs at the very top of the game. She believes she's what she's saying, or the way she approaches things, in a very dignified yet confident manner. And she's had that confidence, and I can say this very, very honestly. She's had that confidence of feeling like she's always a part of the table, even when she was very young, even if she was 15, 16. That gutsiness of hers always, always stood out. So, those are the qualities, really. The accomplishments, obviously, they speak for themselves. What she's done, the kind of impact that she's had, I believe, goes way beyond tennis, way beyond girls playing the sport. Because, I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, this lady is a phenomenon. She's an icon to a sense where every single strata of society, doesn't matter where you lie, but you know who Sania Mirza is. You do. And I tell you this because there's a guy working for us from Bihar, and he told us that there was this Bhojpuri Sania Mirza song. I mean, which has got over 100 million views, by the way. So can you imagine the reach that she's had over the last decade and a half, 2 decades that she's been around, and the kind of influence that she's had, where every single person in India knows who she is, and once they get to know her story, they can't help but be amazed. They can't help but be inspired. So, and the way she's handled all of that, she's always felt like she belongs, she deserves it, and she's always been poised.
Yeah, yeah. Like they say, no guts, no glory, and that's Sania Mirza. All right, so if there is a young, budding tennis player who's watching this and wants to seek inspiration from you, what would be your 2 words to the boy or the girl?
Work your butt off. There's no other way. There's no other way. Work your butt off. Be committed with what you're doing. I mean, not just if you're a tennis player, if you're any kind of athlete or whatever it is that you're trying to do, the work is at the end of the day going to be the teaching force. It's going to be the driving force, and you'll be surprised with how much you find yourself improving just by putting your best effort every single day. You'll be surprised with how you won't take anything other than the best from yourself, because that's the habit that you've now created in yourself. Is every single day, just go out there, give it your best. Day after day. Are you going to make mistakes? Yes. Is it going to be perfect? No. There's no way for any person to have a perfect path. It's just not possible. But the only way to do it is be honest with yourself, be brutally honest with yourself rather, and work, and you'll find your way.
Thank you so much, Som. I have to tell you that I have taken away a few points for my life from this one. Thank you so much, and thanks a lot for finding time for doing this. I hope you had a good time.
Of course. I before I end, I must say I have had a great time chatting with you today, obviously, but even in the years past, the times that we've worked together, the few times that we've worked together have been unbelievable. One of my favorite memories with you was actually when it was just the two of us on a show talking about the Olympics, maybe talking about dressage, and having to fill a show for 20, 30 minutes. And we were basically freestyling. And the kind of fun that we had while freestyling, it told me a lot about the kind of person that you are. but also that we can just have fun and be professional as long as we're well prepared and we put the work in. So one of the things I've noticed about you is the amount of work that you put in to every show that you do, and that's something that I've always admired about you, Ridhima. So again, thank you. Happy to be here as always, and I look forward to
Thank
seeing this and all the other stuff that you come up with.
Thank you, yeah. This is so sweet. Thank you. Hoping to do many more shows with you.
Absolutely, we will.
All right. See you soon. You have
All
a
right.
great time. And thanks for
Yeah.
doing this. Bye bye. All the best. Yeah.
Bye, Ridhima. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.